Hi, and welcome to week 3 of the SRA and Mind Control Self-Healing Journey Recovery classes. My name is Celine. So today we are going to dive into the kind of spiritual side and the energetic side of what goes on with SRA and mind control purpose, so to speak. So it's important to remember that spirituality is just what it is. It's not good or bad. It's all about the intention of the person behind it. So whilst people that do Freemasons and such that do things like SRA, whilst they're using it for the bad and creating bad and everything that goes on around us, there's also people like myself who use it for the good to bring healing and reverse all that damage that they've caused, basically, and what they continue to cause. So I do have some diagrams today. We're going to jump into chakras because it'll give you kind of an idea really of where we're coming from. I'll just share the screen. So at the bottom here, we've got root. So these are all the main 7 chakras. And with SRA, with any form of abuse, these chakras will become blocked. That's just the way it is. With SRA, they're purposely doing this because when all those energy centers are blocked, that's what keeps us down and stuck. And it also stops our connection, our intuition, and things like that, being able to see through the illusions these people create. So that's a lot of why they do it as well. So you see at the bottom, we've got the root chakra. This deals with our survival. It's how we feel secure in the world, how we feel stable in ourselves. When this chakra is blocked, it can affect our abundance, our finances, and that kind of thing. It stops us being able to connect to the earth fully and ground and release those energies into Mother Earth, which is a way of releasing all those negative energies that have been caused. So that's why this one is blocked. The next one is the sacral chakra. This deals with our creativity, our sexuality, and things like that. So with the sexual abuse side of things, that's where those blocks kind of come in there from the abuse we suffered as a child, especially sexually related, but all other abuses as well can affect that. And it's blocked by the feeling of guilt. And we'll go into that in a minute. So next we have the solar plexus chakra. This deals with our willpower, our kind of determination in the world. It is our life force center, really. And when this is blocked, which is caused by shame as well, it can just make us feel like we're not capable of doing things and like no will to live, that kind of thing. That can all come from there. But also with the root chakra as well, depression and everything resides in there. So that's also combined. And again, this one is blocked by shame, or one of the things. So the next we have the heart chakra. This deals with love. This is where our love and kindness comes from. This can be blocked by grief. So the grief that we feel of being abused, it can even come from, if a loved one passes, we can create blocks then from the grief we feel from that. So then we've got the throat chakra. With the heart chakra as well, going back, they want that blocked because they don't like emotions. They don't want us to feel love. They're jealous of all those things because they don't have them. They're just cold and heartless and soulless. And so that's what they try and destroy within us. And a lot of us survivors are actually empaths. So if you go and look that up, you might recognize within yourself, and also highly sensitive people. So then we've got the truth. the throat chakra. This is blocked by lies. So it's the lies that we tell and it's the lies that we're told. So they'd want this chakra blocked so we can't speak our truth. It's a way to silence us energetically. And then combined with all these other ones as well, you're bringing fear into that too, as to why we wouldn't want to expose these things or even just speak out about the pain that we feel. So then we go into the third eye chakra. This deals with our insight, our intuition, that kind of thing, or that gut feeling within. As I say, this one can be blocked by illusion. And when this is blocked, we're not able to see through the illusions as easily. So, of course, that's another reason they want to keep that blocked. This is also our psychic senses and things like that is within the third eye. And kind of seeing really what the rest of the people don't see. It's a higher state of consciousness. So then we have the cosmic energy, the crown chakra. So this is our connection directly to source. This is where our intuition and things like that come in. It can be blocked by ego attachment. So that's like, I'm trying to think of an example to that one. Basically, they put attachments above the head. So this stops the connection and blocks it. When that happens, the divine energy can't come in and give us those intuitive hits, bring the healing down through the chakras and into Mother Earth, because we need to be anchored into source. And it's important to always acknowledge source, because there's so much false light out there, which is another thing. You call in that false light, that's going to come into your chakra systems and it's still going to block them. And it could, it does, and it oftentimes cause more harm, because that's the point of it. There are lots of other things as well with AI and things like that that blocks up here, but we won't go into that today. That's quite a deep kind of road to go down. So ego as well. Ego is like, it's not the ego in the narcissist sense. It's the ego in the conscious mind telling us we can't do something. We can't be loved. We can't be helped. We can't survive in this world. All sorts of things like that. That all comes from the ego. And that's what we need to try and change and flip around, because that's not true. A lot of it is caused, as I say, by the traumas that are causing blocks within this energy center. So by understanding that, we can start turning that around and working it into our own advantage. And there's lots of different ways we can do that. Just working through the trauma as much as you can, slowly, one by one, that will help start unblocking these things. There's also some spiritual concepts we can use. So here we've got this blame, guilt, shame, and grief. Well, the other one is also blame. So sometimes in abuse situations, or most of the time, we will blame ourselves for the abuse. Somehow we take it on that it must be something wrong with us, and that's why it's happening. So in that sense, we want to lose that blame, because that's causing blocks to us, and it's also not true. We're not to blame for how others treat us. That's all on them. And as you'll hear me say all the time, you give that back to them to deal with, which they won't, they'll just carry it. But then you can then deal with the things that you need to deal with, and that's not one of them, because that belongs to someone else and not you. Then there's the shame aspect. We can feel ashamed that we've been abused and things. Perhaps if we're a bit older, we're ashamed because we've allowed this to happen and now we feel stupid, that kind of thing. Again, that you're taking that away from the abuser. That is theirs to own. We have nothing to be ashamed about. We did nothing wrong. So it's important to try and understand that within us and lose that aspect as well. And then there's the guilt side. We might feel guilty because, like in my situation, my father handler would always play the victim and make me feel guilty for him He's even said things to me before, like, oh, you don't want me to get in trouble and go to jail, do you? And, you know, stuff like that, and putting that on me as a child. So then I immediately feel guilty for feeling this way, when actually that's on him. He shouldn't be abusing. If he wasn't abusing and doing the things he was doing, he wouldn't have the worry of jail. You know, so, you know, while we don't always understand these things as children, we're now adults, so we can look into these things and we can see where kind of we can turn these things around, and where perhaps we shouldn't be carrying certain aspects, and where, you know, we can give that back to the abuser for them to carry. So that's quite an important one, really, to understand. Blame, shame, and guilt. As long as you can start working on them, working on releasing them, that's going to help with the other traumas then, and learning to trust the gut and things like that. So this also plays a part. We've got earth chakras. So these rituals are also conducted on main sites a lot of the time, especially if you're quite high up in the Illuminati network. A lot of the rituals will be done on these chakra points, and also ley lines as well, which run throughout the entire world. And that's a way of infecting the energy centers within the earth and the energy kind of channels that run through the earth, and make it a negative force instead of a positive force. So it kind of goes hand in hand, really, of what they are trying to accomplish here and why we're in the darkness that we're in. A lot of the New Agers say the dark's leaving. That is not true, because these things are still carrying on. And whilst they're ignored, it's just allowed to carry on. You know, things like the sound of freedom is turning people away from the actual truth of what it is. And so now they're seeing it as a different thing. They're seeing it as far away because, well, it's not on my doorstep. It's in a completely different country, third world country, and that kind of thing. And it moves it away psychological wise. So it's important to understand all these things, as I say, and why these things happen. So with energy, we can take deep breaths. If you haven't joined the group yet, if you're on YouTube, there is a link below to the group in Facebook. There are lots of extra resources in there, and you will find things in there on energy protection and stuff. And I will be uploading more too. There will be a few videos floating around on my channel as well, if you want to have a look through. I've kind of done different ones over the periods of 6 years. So, you know, that can really help. And calling in a ball of protection as well around us to protect our energy, because a lot of the time we're still targeted by witchcraft. I am quite a lot. I have to constantly clear my energy and keep remembering to protect myself. And that in itself is a daily practice that I'm still working on implementing. And I hope you've been able to work through some of the daily practices that we've talked about in the last 2 weeks and start bringing them into your daily life, because they are really going to help build that foundation that we spoke about in the first week. So I think I will leave it there for this lesson. I hope that all makes sense. Any questions, of course, you can get in touch with me. And I will see what protection things I've got up, maybe add some more into the group if needs be. And yeah, I will see you all next week. I hope you're all doing well. I hope this is kind of making sense. Obviously, this is general, so it's important to, when I talk about reframing words, for example, like the mindset element of things and flipping the negative from the positive, I'll use certain examples. And I'll have some people come to me and say, well, I can't, that example doesn't work for me. I think it's a bit overwhelming. These are general classes. They're for your self-help journey. If you're a client of mine, then obviously we go through an assessment and we can work out those things that work for you, and we have your own unique plan and guidance to go from. And, you know, obviously we can pinpoint your traumas and work on them together. But because this is general, you need to be able to tweak these things for yourself. So if something feels too overwhelming, reword it so it feels right to you and not overwhelming. And that's the way to do it. It's just about tweaking it and making these things work as, you know, in your favor, basically. So I will, as I say, I will leave it there for this class. I will see you all again next week or in another video. I do need to do a podcast, actually. Didn't get it up last week. So hopefully I can get around to doing that this week. So I will see you all soon. Enjoy your day.